So as you probably know, I like to do predictions for RLCS splits on who's gonna make the major and who's gonna win it, and usually I'm 100% correct. So for the spring split, I also decided to do a predictions video, and this time it might have been, I might have missed the target a little bit. I'm sorry to say I might have made a few wrong predictions. So today we're gonna look at them, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through every single region one by one, see who I thought were going to make the top 5 and who actually ended up making it. If I don't get at least half of the teams that got into the major correct, I'm gonna have to do a forfeit, which I haven't decided what it is yet. I'm gonna decide it later. But without further ado, let's have a look at my amazing predictions. So first we're gonna go to North America, where I had Complexity at 5th, which wasn't that far off because they did place 4th in the rankings. I mean, it says 3rd here, but that's because it includes the major points. So yeah, it wasn't the correct placement, but they did make top 5, so I'm happy with that. The next one though is version 1, which once again completely fluffed it. Somehow they managed to win the second regional and still not be able to qualify for the major. But yeah, they obviously look like a really good team. They haven't been the best in the pre-split tournaments, but I think with that crazy team, they're gonna have great results during the regionals this split. But since they're a new team, I feel like they're gonna have some like adjustment pains, so they aren't gonna be one of the top 3 teams straight off the bat. All right, and then we go to 3rd, which I put G2, which once again, they managed to screw me over because I always used to predict them to not make the major, but then somehow they always managed to do it. But then this one time, I predict them to make the major. They don't do it, so I don't know what's up with that. In second spot, I have Genji. It's not the correct placement, but they still did manage to make the major, which is gonna be another point for me. Probably the biggest L of the whole prediction is this. I don't know what happened. I genuinely don't know what happened. How did they not make the major with that? Like, they've been one of the best teams for the whole season, and then they just didn't manage to make it. I don't understand what happened. The number 1 team is FaZe Clan. Like, obviously these guys have to be like at least 1 or 2. They are just too good. They were also the number 1 seed last split, and they even made it to the major final. So I think they're gonna continue the momentum into the next split. All right, so I got 2 out of 5 from North America. I don't think I could have been more wrong if I tried. I literally could have. I could have gone like 0 out of 5. Not the greatest predictions, to say the least. But then we're gonna move on to Europe, where I put Oxygen Esports at 5th, which in the end wasn't close at all. They came 8th, which, I mean, I guess that's not too far off from 5th, but they did not manage to make it to the major. So yeah, that was a bit of an L. So far we're 0 out of 5 in Europe. And then in the 4th place, I put BDS, which did manage to make it to the major, and actually at the 2nd spot, since they haven't been playing too well. But I said they were gonna make the major, and you all laughed at me. I don't know if that's true, but that's my headcanon. And then 3rd place, we have Liquid, and once again, I was correct. And they did end up 4th, which isn't too far off from my original prediction, which was 3rd. Yeah, I feel like they were just kind of a safe bet, to be honest. I feel like Europe was much more predictable this time than North America, which usually it's like the other way around, but I've managed to pull it back, and now I'm 2 out of 5. And then in 2nd spot, I put Team Vitality. I felt like they were too new of a team to make it to the number 1 spot, which I ended up being completely wrong on, since they did end up winning every single regional. I was wrong on that. And then number 1, I put Karmi Corp. They ended up doing a little bit worse than I think most people expected. I think most people expected them to finish on top of BDS, since they did win the major last time, but they did end up going 3rd, which isn't bad, but it's not the first that I was predicting. So far I haven't got a single one completely correct, but I've got 5 out of 10 predictions overall correct so far. So I think I don't have to do a forfeit right now. Let's see how Oceania looked. So I predicted Kansas City to go 2nd and Ground Zero to go 1st, which in reality wasn't correct, since Power managed to take Pioneer spot. But overall, I don't think I was too far off. I think I would have switched these, because I think I predicted these 2 to go in the reverse order. So it's not too bad. And so far I'm 6 out of 12, which means I'm still safe. But now we're gonna go to South America, and I predicted Team Secret to go 2nd and Ninjas in Pyjamas to go 1st. And once again, I was only half correct, because Crew Esports managed to go number 1, which I guess wasn't that surprising. But still got it right that Ninjas in Pyjamas went right above Team Secret, but I didn't expect Crew Esports to go up here. So again, I was half correct, which means I'm still safe. But then do you have an L? Because I predicted Team Falcons to go to the major, when in reality they came 3rd, which I don't think many people expected. And Rule 1 did manage to make it to the major this time for the first major they've ever made. I did underestimate them, but I'm glad to see they did manage to qualify. So right now, I'm 7 out of 15, which means that once again, just like last time, if I don't get this last one right, I have to do a forfeit, and it just turns out that I got it right. I don't have to do a forfeit. I don't know how this happens like this every time, but hey, I got half correct again. Elevate, of course, did make it to the major just above Gaming Gladiators, so yeah, I've got half correct again. So next we're gonna go to playoffs, which only has half of the teams, but we can still see how correct I was, or how incorrect I was. So first, I don't think any of these matchups were correct, except for that Elevate is supposed to be there, and well, that's the only one. So out of the teams that I did predict correctly to go to the major, I predicted Karmine Corp to win the first match, which they did. Version 1 wasn't even there, but BDS did make it to the next round, which I was incorrect on. I predicted Team Vitality to go to the next round, which I was correct on again. However, Complexity also made it to the second round, which, I mean, I literally couldn't have got them both right. But yeah, they did win their first match, which I didn't predict to happen. Then Ninjas in Pyjamas, I predicted them to lose, which they actually did. However, they lost against Optic, who I didn't even predict to make the major, but whatever. Team Falcons, I predicted to win the first match. However, they didn't even make the major, but Rule 1 did win their first match, and they were the team that made it from MENA, so nah, I wasn't correct. I can't twist it to make it correct. FaZe Clan, I predicted to win the first match, which they didn't even make the major, so I was wrong on that, just by default. Pioneers, I predicted to lose. However, they also didn't even make the major. Team Liquid, I predicted to win against Ground Zero, and they actually lost against Complexity, so I was wrong on that. However, I predicted Ground Zero to lose in the first match, which they did. And then Genji, I predicted to win, which they actually didn't. They lost. Oxygen didn't even make the major. G2 didn't make the major, and Team Secret also didn't make the major. So out of these ones, I got like 2 correct, which were Karmine Corp and Vitality. And then moving on to the next round, upper bracket semifinals, I predicted Karmine Corp, Team Vitality, FaZe Clan, and Genji to make it, which out of those, Vitality and Karmine Corp were correct, so I got half correct. However, one of them wasn't even at the major. And then in the upper bracket final, I predicted Team Vitality and Genji, which was completely wrong, because it was Karmine Corp and BDS. And then in the lower bracket final, somehow, I managed to get it completely correct, except these are switched. But I got Team Vitality versus Karmine Corp, which is what ended up happening. I think most people would have predicted that. However, I predicted Karmine Corp to go to the final against Genji, which just wasn't correct. Neither of them were in the final. I don't think many people would have guessed BDS to make the final, including me, and they did actually end up making it through the upper bracket, no less. But yeah, they ended up going to the final, and they ended up losing to Team Vitality. I did say Team Vitality weren't ready yet to win the major, which I guess was a bit wrong, because I predicted Karmine Corp to win it again, which they didn't. They were only like 3 series wins away. But yeah, I don't have to do a forfeit, and that's all I care about, to be honest. But that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell me who you predicted to win, and half of you saying Vitality. I know you are lying. You can't lie. It's literally illegal. But remember to like, subscribe, comment, share. Become a member if you want to support me keep making these videos. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. I'll see you guys later. Bye. And shout out to Gerardo Daniel Rodriguez Gonzalez and Stock.